Oh, hi there. I'm just having a look at the instructions for the antenna rotator and controller that there's that little video of me unboxing. The one I've got is the Yaesu G-1000DXC. What I'm just familiarizing myself with is they suggest an indoor performance check and alignment before you put it up on the roof. Now I read through it. I just wanted to find a YouTube video just for some clarification on what to do. Sometimes it's just good to watch these things when you're in uncharted territory, and I couldn't really find anything on there. So what I decided to do was make a little video, so this may be of some use to you. So we're just going to go through and see what they say in the book to do, and you can have a look, have a watch, and see if it helps you. So we've got everything compact here. I am literally going to go through the instructions as they have written them down. So it says temporarily connect the rotator unit and the controller using the supplied connection cable. Now the supplied connection cable that I purchased with this was a 25 meter cable. I was presented two options, 25 meters and 40 meters. It was a pre-wired one. I didn't want to have to put the connectors on the end, and it's no real problem to me. I can sort of coil up the remainder of the cable in the corner of the room. So I opted for the shorter of the two. Now I'm going to pop on my little small camera here so that you can see more in detail what I'm talking about. So what we've got here is the plug that goes into the side of the rotator itself. Now you can see this has 7 pins, but looking at the instructions, the middle pin is not actually used, and looking at the other end of the connection, there are only 6 pins there anyway. This is the plug that goes into the rear of the control unit, but we'll start with the one into the rotator itself. So what you need to do is take the plug. You'll notice that it has some ridges around the edge. Hopefully you can see those clearly enough. Now this is going to help with the location of the plug. It will only go in one way, and I believe I may have got this in. Yes, I have. Now I've got that in first time. Holding a camera and doing this up is not the easiest, so we're just going to swap hands and we're just going to tighten that up. So when I put this actually up on the roof, there we go, it's getting tighter. There we are, that's lovely. When I put this up on the roof, what I'm actually going to do is put some more of the amalgam tape over here before just sliding the supplied shroud up over the connector, because it's going to take a lot of beating there up on the roof. Now what they're asking me to do next in the instructions is to connect the back of the controller with the 6-pin plug that I just showed you. So that's the plug, and it quite simply locates into the connector on the back of the control unit. Now that can only go one way, and we just push that in. There we go. Right, now what it has said, while I've got this turned round, it says turn the speed controller, that's on the other side, fully counterclockwise. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but what it does say on this side, and I don't know if you can make it out there, I'll just grab my screwdriver to point it out. We've got an adjustment controller switch here, and it can go two ways. You've got an operation mode or an adjustment mode. Now what the instructions are asking us to do is to put it in the adjustment mode. Now I appreciate this is very difficult to see, but we're going to just slide this over to the right like so. That's now in the adjustment mode. Okay, so we'll turn controller around. We're going to plug it in. Now this comes with a 2-pin connector, so I've had to take the adapter from my Razor, which will make sense why I have the rugged look today, because I've not been able to use that. We're going to turn on the power there, and then what it's asking us to do is press the on switch on the actual controller, and hopefully some lights will come on. There we go. So I'm just going to turn that a little bit that way, so we've got the sun off the dial, and hopefully you can see a little bit clearer. Now what it's asking me to do next, you've got the seesaw switch down here, so I don't know if you can see that. It says left and right, left being counterclockwise, right being clockwise. It's asking me to hold the left side of the seesaw switch down until the rotator reaches the counterclockwise position where it automatically stops. So we'll do that. We'll just turn the speed dial down and we'll hit the switch and see if it works. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is the rotator just very slowly moving. There we go. Now we'll keep going until that automatically stops. There we go. So it says when the rotator has reached the left stop position, release the left switch, which I've done, and check to see if the controller's indicator needle is pointing to 0 degrees. Now, looking at that, you can see that we are actually pointing to 30 degrees rather than straight up at the 0 degrees. So what it's asking us to do now, it says if the indicator needle is out of alignment, grasp the edge of the bezel around the bearing window, so we're talking about this bit, then where are we? Turn it 10 degrees counterclockwise and pull it off. So let's just, there we go, and that comes off. Wonderful. Let's see what it says next. Then grasp the needle at its center and pull it straight off. Replace the needle to 0 degrees straight up and replace the bezel. So literally all we are going to do is pull that needle off like so, and we are going to replace that straight up to 0. Hopefully, there we go, like that. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's straight up at 0, and then we're going to replace the bezel again. So that's the reverse of what we did. Pop it on and then 10 degrees to the right, and then it is quite stiff, and with one hand, there we go, it's not easy. Right, okay, what it's saying to us now is just above the round connector jack on the rotator, so we're talking about the connector jack here, you will observe 2 raised calibration marks, one each on the rotating bell and fixed base of the rotator. Let's have a look. Now I do know where these are, but when I first looked at them, or for them, it wasn't terribly clear, and I'll tell you why. What I'm going to do is just put a little light on just to make this clearer. There we go. You've got, I'll point this out with my screwdriver, you've got a mark there, so that's one, and that's the other one. Hopefully you can see that. So you will see that these two are lined up. Now what wasn't clear to me, and I'll just show you this, so these are the 2 marks that they are talking about. I did see these, there's 2 marks here, that's better. There's one there and there's one there, these are in line. Now I thought initially that this mark had to be lined up with the one here. It wasn't until I laid the actual unit down that I saw this other one. Okay, so if that helps you, brilliant. So what we'll do is just stand that up so those are lined up, which is fantastic. Now what it's asking us to do now is press the rotation side of the seesaw switch and continue rotating to the right until the calibration marks are again precisely aligned. And now check the indicator needle, which should have rotated fully 360 degrees so as to be pointing exactly to north. So it's asking us to go round one 360 degree turn. So what I'm going to do is just turn this light off so we don't get any nasty reflections. We're going to press the right switch. There we go, and you can hopefully see the needle moving around there and the rotator doing its thing. So we've got to go a quarter of a way there. So we're going to go all the way round until we get those marks lined up. Now we're coming up to halfway. We've just gone past 240 degrees. So not far to go now. And it's asking us to stop when they... There we go, so there we are. Right, you can see that the overlap light says we are now running over the 360 degrees. The line is fractionally over the zero. So what I'm going to do now is look for those marks to see if we've lined them up. Now we can clearly see that that's not the case. Now I'll turn this light on again just to help. So you've got, where are we? We've got one mark here, and then going around here we've got the other mark there. Okay, so we've got to make sure that those two line up. So what we're going to have to do, I'm just looking at it, the mark is in the middle. We've got a point we can kind of, a point of reference. The mark, I know, is the middle of this. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just carry on moving to the right, like so. Nearly there, and I think that'll be nearly there. So we'll have another little look. There we go. Where are we? Oh, I don't think I've done a bad job there at all. Just a little bit more. Let's just, there we go. That's lined up. Now what they are saying is that should have ended up with the just turn that light off. That should have ended up with the needle on the 360. So what they're saying to do is to turn the control around. Now this is going to be tricky. There's a little, I don't know if you can see it, but in here there's a little screwdriver hole, and you can adjust the needle. So what I'll do is I'll put the screwdriver in there, but bring this round to the front where hopefully you can see that. I'll just turn that because there's an awful lot of reflection. This is not going to be an easy procedure. So let me just get that in the right hole first. There we go. So what we've got to do is just with the use of the screwdriver, turn, there we go, can you see that? I'm turning the screwdriver and I am bringing that round back to, well, technically 360 degrees, although it's going to be on the naught. Okay, so that's that. We'll take that out. Oh, it's just gone slightly over that once I remove the screwdriver. So we'll get that back in there, make another slight adjustment. There we go. And I don't know whether you noticed, but the overlap light went off. So that's the adjustment. Now what they're asking us to do is continue past the 360 degrees for two reasons. They want to check that the overlap light comes on, which I think we know it will, and also to make sure that it stops at 90 degrees after you've done a full rotation, because we don't want to sort of keep going round. Obviously we're going to have some coax attached, so we need to be mindful as to where the rotator is. So we're just going to keep going. There we are, the overlap light has come on, and let's see if this stops automatically at 90 degrees. That's pretty good. It's very slightly just shy on the needle, but I'm happy with that. So that is brilliant. So what we'll do now is we're going to take it right back round, a full rotation of 450 degrees, just back to the start. Check that the overlap light goes out. You see that still going there. Not too noisy at all. I don't know how it sounds on the footage. There we go. So you'll see that the overlap light has gone out. Not far now. Now if everything has worked out correctly, when this stops, automatically stops, that needle should be on 0. That's pretty much on 0. That's good enough for me. Now we do have a dial heading sheet to install, but what I don't want to do is put that in until the unit is actually up on the roof, because I don't know which orientation it's going to be. We could have north at the top, we could have north at the bottom. I'm going to leave that until it's up there. So hopefully that has clarified, just seeing it in real time, what you need to do just to check the performance and just check the alignment of the rotator. So next thing, we're going to be popping this up on the roof tomorrow. I've checked the weather. It's not too sunny, because I think it's going to be a little bit tricky. We'll make a little bit of footage of that so you can see what happens. Thanks for watching the video. It's hopefully going to have helped you understand really how to calibrate this. And yeah, if you like the video, put some comments down the bottom.